a vacancy there. I think he'll do an excellent job for them. I think he did an excellent job for Trinity as well. Very good player even at this late stage of his career. But I think Danny Brough fulfills a need really for Wakefield. They wanted some more competition in the halves, and certainly they've got it now.
And they lost experience and they've replaced it with even more experience. One area where maybe, and you touched on it, where they're lacking experience with Scott Griggs going out the door is the fullback position. So Max Jowett obviously is the young starlet there. Do you think this is a sign of him stepping up into the first team in 2019, or is there a question mark with Hampshire as well?
Hampshire's obviously another option. Jowett's a very talented player. I think I'm a big admirer of Max Jowett. A couple of years ago, he burst onto the scene. Then he had a season when he didn't play very much. And last year, with Griggs getting injured, he got quite a lot of game time towards the end of the season and handled it very well. It's again, that's good competition, isn't it? If it's Hampshire and Jowett, they're both talented, fairly young players. Jowett's still relatively inexperienced, so there is cover if they don't want to play him every week. But I'd be surprised if he doesn't start the season at fullback at the moment. He's certainly highly thought of at Wakefield. He's somebody who could go a long way in the game. Yeah,
and I mean the interesting player into that half-back and full-back mix maybe is Ben Reynolds, who was kind of the first player that Trinity signed for next season, and he's kind of been forgotten in the mix, hasn't he? Do you think he's going to get much game time?
Well, that's another interesting one, isn't it? He's played. He's from the area. He's played for Castleford. Been in the lower division with Lee recently. I don't think he'll be coming in as a starting halfback, but he's certainly got the ability to break into the squad. I think maybe the team is a bit more of a project.
Yeah.
But again, it's competition, and that's what every team needs. He's somebody that's going to be knocking on the door. Obviously, Danny Brough is coming towards the end of his career. It's back up there if Brough gets injured or suspended, as Johnny was supposed to. So I think it's I would imagine he's not on massive money either. So I would imagine he'll be coming as a squad man, but he's not a handy player to have in reserve. And Wakefield do have a habit of signing players like this and taking them to the next level.
Yeah, it definitely gives them great depth, which I think is what Wakefield have added this off-season with some of the shrewd signings they've made. The person obviously behind kind of putting this team together is head coach Chris Chester. He's signed a new 3-year deal, which if he sees it out, it would actually make him the longest serving coach of the summer era for Wakefield. So what do you think his re-signing means for the club?
Well, yeah, Wakefield do tend to go through coaches, or they have done in the past. Things have calmed down a little bit under Michael Carter, and I think Chris Chester's been terrific for Wakefield. I think Wakefield have been good for Chris Chester as well. He's a Wakefield fan. He knows the club inside out. It's where he wants to be, and he's done a terrific job. Probably hasn't got the recognition he deserves, really. When he took over, I think the first game after he was dismissed, Wakefield lost that hole and they were bottom of Super League. They've gone on to avoid relegation or qualify for the Super 8s in his first year, get to the Challenge Cup semi-final, and then 2 fifth places, which on their resources is really impressive stuff. And I think he's brought the belief back to the club, brought the pride back to the club. Nobody fancies going to Wakefield anymore. They're certainly not seen as easy beats. And their away form is pretty good as well. He's improved all aspects of the club, I think, or certainly the playing side of it. And I think it was very important that they tied him down. I don't think there was ever really any indication that he'd leave. I'd say it's where he wants to be. They brought him in after he'd had that unhappy experience at Hull KR, was axed just a few games into the season, very harshly. I think most people would agree. And it's a relationship that works. It gets on very well with Michael Carter, who's popular with the fans, and I think it's a vote of confidence from both sides that he's signed this long-term deal. And it'd be great, wouldn't it, if he could see that out.
Yeah, it's hugely well deserved, isn't it? Like you say, the 2 fifth place finishes, and the question marks about after John Keir left, would he still be able to be able to get the side to perform as well, because people maybe thought Keir was the man motivating the guys, but obviously it's been shown.
I heard that said a lot, but then Chris Chester did turn things around before John arrived. I mean, I'm like most people in the game, a big admirer of what John Keir does, but I think Chris Chester's proved that wasn't the case by the way he handled things last year. They matched the fifth place finish from the previous season. What Wakefield need to do is turn some of their narrow losses into wins. If they do that, they'll be pushing for the top four. Obviously, top five next year will be a playoffs place. It's tough, isn't it, to compete with the likes of Wigan and Warrington and Saints and the top clubs, but Wakefield are punching above their weight, and I think with the squad they've got next year, with some stability and a couple of, as we've said, a couple of smart additions, I think that they're going to continue to do that.
Brilliant. Yeah, there's one other news story that's come out of Wakefield in the off-season, and that's the women's side moving up into Super League. So that's another real positive step for the club, a club that's pioneering as well with the PDRL side that they've brought on. So the women's side into Super League, do you think they're ready for that, and do you think it's a big positive?
It's going to be difficult for them. It is a big step up, certainly between the Championship and the top of Super League. They'll certainly compete. I suppose it'll depend who they sign. They'll certainly compete with teams who are towards the bottom of Women's Super League this year, the likes of York and Featherstone. And it's another club, isn't it? It's another ambitious club that are wanting to boost the women's game and increase the number of people playing rugby league and the way the sport's perceived. I think Women's Super League is fantastic. I watched quite a bit of it this year. The standard certainly at the top is very good, and the more clubs that come in, the more professional clubs that get a team involved, the better. I think Wakefield were, if not the first, certainly one of the first to bring a women's team under the main club banner, and I think it's great that they're in Super League. Good luck to them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we think probably Wakefield's off-season business is done, but where can people catch up on your stuff, Peter? Where can they read about what else might be going on at Wakefield during the off-season?
Well, you can buy a Yorkshire Evening Post or online yorkshireeveningpost.co.uk.
That's brilliant. Thanks for taking us through the off-season for the Wakefield Trinity side.
Pleasure.
Right, Mark, we've got you back now to look forward to 2019 and see. It's a bit of an early look. It's not Christmas yet, but we can see where you think that your Wakefield side are heading for next season. As I've done with the other people we've had on the similar shows, I'm going to sort of put some questions to you to frame this, but obviously it's your chance to have your say on what you think is going to happen. So my first thing to talk about really is how you think the halfback pairing is going to work in 2019. When we had our look back, you talked about the great role Miller had played in 2018 and, to be fair, 2017 too. But who's going to take charge between Brough and Miller, because they both seem to be the player that wants to take charge, take the main role in the side, in their sides that they've both played in recent seasons. They have been the main man. Do you have any concerns over that partnership and how it might gel?
Well, last year I'd consider both Hampshire and Miller kind of running backs, whereas Bruffy, can, and I think will hopefully sit back, direct, and then allow Miller to attack the line and create chances. I suppose my only slight concern is, after I touched upon Miller being on the left-hand side,
yeah,
Bruffy also plays on the left-hand side. So I'm interested to see how we approach that, and hopefully, we don't lose the strike, and the partnerships Miller's developed. But I certainly see Bruffy as a key signing for us next year.
Well, you keep calling him Bruffy, so I'm guessing that you're all happy with his return. You're not one of the dissenting voices maybe who look back negatively on how he left the club last time around all those years ago. So you're very excited to have Danny Brough back in the side, and you think he actually might complement Miller's style well?
Yeah, no, I do. So I think, as I touched upon, we lost quite a number of games over the last few years by small margins. And I think our infield kicking game hasn't been kind of where it needs to be. So for me, Danny Brough ticks those boxes. And he's a little git on the field, isn't he? I mean, he's determined, and I think he'll bring an attitude to lift us when we're struggling. So
I think actually, and that point you make, one of the games that I remember from last year where that kind of came to the fore with Brough's kicking game kind of and controlling the end of a game and that sort of thing was when Huddersfield beat Wakefield in the middle of last season. So that actually maybe has shown you what you're getting back. 2 fifth place finishes in a row. Okay, so fifth in 2019 means making the playoffs, but obviously we have to look around the rest of the clubs. Leeds, Catalan, they're sides that were behind Wakefield last year. They've strengthened, certainly. Hull, they'll be hoping for better luck with injury. Do you think Wakefield will make that 5th spot again? Do you think even maybe they can go better? If so, how's that happen?
We can certainly compete for the playoffs and around that 4th, 5th spot. I agree, there's been some great signings throughout the clubs this year, and it's looking like real competitive. With Leeds in particular. But I do look around the rest of the sides, and including Wigan, Leeds. There's quite a significant upheaval in terms of the number of players and also the key positions they're in.
Yeah, and coaching positions, I guess, at those sides as well.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My team in the past has had 9-10 changes in an off season, and it's taken us a while to kind of so I'm hoping we can get a strong start. We've not had much ins and outs this year, so I think if we start well, we've got a great chance of finishing towards the playoffs.
Wow, do you know what, Mark? I've been trying to put together where I think teams are going to finish in my head, and Wakefield one of those teams that I definitely have dropping a bit from where they finished last year. But I think you've put forward a really good case there for why Wakefield still will be really competitive for that sort of top half of the table and maybe sneak their way into a playoff spot. So it's quite positive, isn't it, for Wakefield for next year? And kind of anything's a bonus, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, a personal thing for me is towards the Challenge Cup.
Okay.
Listening towards interview with Chris Chester recently, he kind of identified this year we were concentrating on the league and securing the top 8. But in my time, we got to 2 semi-finals. And that's probably up there with some of the best days as a Trinity fan. So I think given we finished in the top 8 next year, we get through in that later round, and with the look of a draw and with the team who can beat anyone on its day, that'd be a dream come true, to be honest. So I'd love to target the Challenge Cup as a real priority.
Wow, so getting to Wembley is kind of the focus of your prediction. Do you know what? You're the first person, Mark, that's pointed that out about the structure change. Kind of means clubs like Wakefield and probably both Hull clubs, Salford even maybe, other clubs like that can throw a bit more at the Challenge Cup, because the fear of being in that chase for staying in the league isn't quite there as much anymore until probably right at the back end, because we have the full season, don't we, to avoid relegation now. So that's a really interesting point.
Yeah, no, I think that we're not going to be anywhere near the bottom. Hopefully that won't come to kick me on the backside later on. But I think we can certainly put a lot of effort and energy into targeting those games. Perhaps even resting players. Who knows? But
that's interesting. So when we see your predictions come through for 2019, I expect you to have voted on the Google form for Wakefield to win the Challenge Cup, and you've made a good case. So thanks for joining us on this Wakefield edition of the off-season SLP Shorts, Mark, and I hope for your sake that you get that trip to Wembley.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks very much.
Right, I'm sure you'll agree. Some great stuff there from both of those. Great to have some